Now here's a thought. Do you have items tucked away in a cupboard whose tales remain untold? Well, here's a tale about some flowers that are 21 years old. Hello, I'm Angie from Tablescape Tales by Wish Upon a Style, and I like to share my tips and tricks with you, and especially some that might save you a little bit of money. You might be wondering what I'm doing with this carrier bag here full of artificial flowers. Well, let me tell you, because it's given me an idea that I'd like to share with you. So the other day I was helping my mum to declutter a bit. Now, my mum's generation, she's actually 92, they seem to want to kind of keep on to things forever. So I was finding things from 30 odd years ago, and that suddenly came across, it wasn't this carrier bag, but I found a very old carrier bag, and inside were all these artificial flowers. Now, I didn't even recognise them at first until my mum told me that she put them in the cupboard probably about 15, 16 years ago, and it was actually an arrangement that I presented my mum to on the occasion of my son's bar mitzvah. Now he's 34, so it's 21 years ago. So she's kept these artificial flowers for 21 years, and I mean in that time I've made lots of arrangements of artificial flowers for her, but of course this arrangement holds a lot of memories for her. And she just, even though she's changed her colour scheme and she no longer has these peaches and pinks and things, she couldn't actually throw them away, so she just put them in a cupboard. So I've taken them out, and then I've got a question for you. Do you also have things that you might have put away, perhaps an item of jewellery or a trinket box, or perhaps even perhaps a tea set, maybe even just a cup and saucer, something that belong to someone who means a lot to you? Maybe they're not here any longer. You really don't want to display them, you don't actually know what to do with them, but you just can't bring yourself to actually get rid of them because they hold so many precious memories. So what do? Do you just put them in a cupboard? Well, what I'm going to ask you to do is to think about some of those things and just see if you could perhaps use them just to make some kind of arrangement that you'd be proud to display. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take this bunch of flowers and I'm going to try and do something with them. I'm not going to use all of them. I mean, I will be using all of them at some stage, but I'm just going to pick out some that I feel I could do something with today, and I'm just going to show you how we can do just a very, very quick arrangement. So bear with me. So what I've done, I've actually chosen a few of the artificial flowers that I thought might go together, might look very pretty and make a very nice arrangement. And so now I'm going to give you a couple of tips that I always use when I'm making a floral display. So with these, what I want to do first of all, I'm actually going to use two vessels close together. So I've got this clear glass one here, and then I've got a smaller glass one here. And by the way, this is actually one of my toothbrush glasses from the bathroom. So just to give you an idea, it doesn't have to be a vase. You can just choose anything that you've got around the house that you think might go. So I'm going to put these two quite close together, and I'm just going to quickly make an arrangement. Now, unfortunately, because these faux flowers and blooms are just so old, they are falling apart. That doesn't matter either. So what I've done, the ones that have fallen off, I've just put in the bottom of the glass here. So I'll just put a taller bloom there. And all I'm going to do now is, I mean, these are really quite pretty. By the way, they were very dusty and I think a bit greasy as well. So I just literally wiped all the petals and all the stems, the whole thing really, with some baby wipes, and they've come out absolutely fine. So, but you might want to do that, or give them a little rinse under some clear water and then let them dry off if you've got some very old artificial flowers like I have. So anyway, we're going to do a very, very quick arrangement here. So I don't even know what I'm doing at the moment. I may well change this and move it around, but really today I just wanted to give you a couple of tips and just a couple of ideas. So what I'm going to do now is I'll put this one in here as well. Okay, so that's that one. It's not quite finished yet because I've got another tip that I want to share with you, and in this one I'm going to just put the smaller blooms like that. Now, my next tip is that 9 times out of 10, I always mix real fresh blooms with artificial flowers, and you really can't tell once you've done this, and there's lots of reasons for doing this. The main one is, of course, that you can make a really beautiful display sometimes, and you can't actually tell which are the artificial blooms, which are the real ones. So I'll demonstrate that for you now. Now, you don't have to spend a lot of money on fresh blooms either. So these are my Simply Roses from Sainsbury's, if you can see that, but they cost me £3. They're actually probably my favourite kind of colour. They're the pale pink, and they have kind of green, tinged with green at the edges. So I've got these. I'm not going to show you how I prepare them when I take them home from the supermarket, because that's on so many of my tutorials, and you can find them on my YouTube channel, which I'll give a link to later on. But what I'm going to do now is to just mix a couple of the artificial roses with these, just to actually finish off this very, very quick display. And I'm not going to use them like this. I'm going to use another trick, and that is I'm going to open them up. Let's just take this. Just like this. I don't know if you can see that. And this is something I do quite a lot. I promise you, I've got 2 roses here which I've done this with, and they are from this bunch of roses, but there is quite a difference. In fact, let me just quickly show you. Let me just take one out now. I can just okay. Actually, this one, the petals are starting to fall off, unfortunately. I only bought them yesterday, but I have got a way to actually refresh your roses once you get them, but I'll show you that another time as well. So hopefully you can see the difference. If you'd like to know how I do this, then again, I'm giving a tutorial on my YouTube channel. So please join me and subscribe to that, and I'll put the link below. But for now, I'm just going to just add one of these to this display. So what I want to do is just check. I think I'm going to trim it just a little bit. What you can do is just put your vase or vessel, whatever you're using, at the edge of the table, and then you should be able to measure it and get the right, just want it there, and then you can just trim it to the right length. And always with roses, and most flowers, cut them on the diagonal. It gives you a wider surface, so that when you put them in water, the water can be drawn up the stem a lot easier. But there's lots of other tips that I'd like to give you on roses. I'm also going to take some of the leaves off as well. So I'm just going to put this in here, just to kind of add, there we go. And I just think that really goes very well, and it just looks beautiful. Now, of course, now that I've added a real bloom, of course I'm going to add some water, and it won't do any harm to the artificial flowers, but it will just make them all look that much more authentic. So again, I'm going to do the same in the small vase as well, just so that it's kind of matching up. And here's another one I've done. Of course, you don't have to go to the trouble of using this particular tip. You can just put a fresh rose in there. So I'm going to cut that a little bit more as well. And again, hold it to the edge, hold it to where you'd like it, and then you can see that you need to trim it a bit, like that. Okay, so we'll put that one in there, that one there, and we'll add some water. And again, and that just makes, you know, a really pretty display, perhaps for a hall table, you know, when your guests come in. You could even use this as a centerpiece if you wanted to, or perhaps on a side table. So that's what I wanted to say today. I'm going to make another arrangement using these roses next week. You might be under the impression that I'm a florist. I'm really not. I just use flowers a lot in my home styling for special occasions, but we use lots of other things as well. So that's what I wanted to say to you today. So yes, please look around, see if you've got anything at all that's of sentimental value, especially if it's perhaps a piece of jewellery or something that you think, maybe even a little box, a pretty box that you'd like me to help you with and style it, and I'd be delighted to help you. And that's it for today. So have a great weekend, enjoy the lovely sunshine, and I'll see you next time. And I did find another use for the rest of the flowers in my mum's bouquet. This Sunday we're having one of our own events. It's the Glittering Teapots Let's Twist a Gay an Afternoon Tea. And I'm styling the restaurant in, as you can probably guess, a tropical theme. So I've created 6 table centerpieces, and I've managed to incorporate some of the flowers from my mum's bouquet into these table centerpieces. You might actually recognise this one and then the orange one here, and I've used this in 3 of the table centerpieces. You can see, I think, one of the orange flowers behind me as well. And so everybody's sitting down enjoying their delicious afternoon tea, and then singing along and dancing to our live entertainment. That's fabulous beatniks who are going to be transporting us back to the swinging 60s. Well, I'll be thinking about another special occasion 21 years ago, and nobody will know except me and you. And if you're wondering why I call my YouTube channel Tablescape Tales, well, now you know. Are you now thinking about those treasured items you've tucked away but can't bear to part with? Well, I hope now that you'll display them, enjoy them, and you'll be reminded of those precious memories and special people. I do hope so. And if you don't want to miss my next Tablescape tale, well, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.